Hey, what is up? It is Paddy here. So what I want to talk with you about in this video is fear, and specifically the number one thing that keeps people locked in fear. The number one thing that keeps people in a state where they can't move forward at all, where they can't take any type of action in achieving the goals that they've set for themselves, or getting the things out of life that they want to get out of life. And I'm also going to share with you a very simple and very effective way to overcome this, which is a lot more straightforward than you might think it is. So this video is specifically for you if you are a entrepreneur and you have difficulties with achieving your goals, right? You're not getting closer to where you want to be, and there's always some type of delay or some type of shadow looming over your head, right? This video is for you. Or if you are trying to achieve any type of goal in your life, then this video will definitely help you out. So be sure to watch this video all the way to the end, because it's definitely going to help you out. So what sparked the idea for this video is that I actually finished a call with one of my clients an hour ago, and it was a follow-up call to a call that we did 2 weeks prior to this, where in that call, the previous call, we discussed a lot of different things, and one of the things that was the topic of the conversation was for my client to do a video training for his prospective clients. And the idea of that was for him to put it on his social media, right? On Facebook, Instagram, and whatnot. And in this call that we did just now, I found out that he didn't take any action on that at all. And once I started to delve a little bit deeper, I found out that the thing that was holding him back was fear, right? And specifically the fear of being judged by other people, right? Is it good enough, or what might people say or criticize, the whole self-image breakdown thing. And it's something that a lot of people struggle with as well. But what I found so interesting about as I was listening to him was he was describing his dissatisfaction, right? He was describing kind of like irritation of not gaining momentum, of not getting closer to where he wanted to be. And what he wasn't realizing about all of that was that it was essentially his own pattern of existence right there, right? His own pattern of existence that was keeping him away from achieving the things that he wanted to achieve, right? And it's something that a lot of people deal with. And what is most interesting right here is that we live in a day and age where pretty much everything is accessible, right? We can do things today and in such a way that people from 10, 15, 20 years ago wouldn't even dream possible, right? Thanks to the information, technology, and resources that we have available today. And despite all of that, you still see people can't take proper action in achieving the things that they say that they want to achieve in life, right? And you see this a lot with entrepreneurs. And it causes a lot of issues about not being happy where they are, not getting momentum, and so forth. And ultimately, all of the issues that you are dealing with about not being happy where you are right now, or not achieving the things you want to achieve, all of them come down to fear, right? All of them come down to fear. And specifically, this fear is being driven by playing the what if game that most people do. Like, what if I do this thing and it doesn't work? What if I post this thing and it doesn't work? What if I put a live video and it doesn't work? What if I try to close a deal with a client and it doesn't work? What if I send a mail, it doesn't work? What if I try to invest in my business and it doesn't work? What if I ask this person out and it doesn't work? What if I? You have to grow up, right? Let me say that again. You have to grow up. You cannot simply play the what if game in the way that you've been doing right now. It's not taking you anywhere, right? You need to flip the coin on this thing and ask yourself a completely different question. What if you don't do this and it would have worked if you've done it, right? Because you need to understand that the biggest losses that people come to regret in their lives don't come from the shots that they missed. It comes from the shots that they never took at all. And you right now might be so afraid of losing the game that you're not realizing that you were never in the game to begin with, because you never made a move. And that is the thing with most people. They don't realize that they're not even taking any type of shots and are so paralyzed that they never even played the game. And what is going to make the difference between you making a move or not is you knowing and understanding your why. We all have a reason for doing what we're doing. We all have a reason for why we started our business, right? So when you are focusing more on what if I do this and it doesn't work, you are essentially valuing your fear over your vision, over the way that you want your life to be, right? The way that you envision things to be. You're valuing your fear more than that, and you need to focus and look to your why, to why you are doing the things that you're doing, because that is going to give you the key to overcoming the fear, which is absolute necessity, right? It is only from absolute necessity that you can form the courage to stand despite fear, right? Courage isn't something that just comes out of thin air. It comes from when there is absolute necessity for you to achieve the things you need to achieve, and that's where the courage kicks into place, right? So with a lot of people, they somewhere in their minds, it is tolerable for them to live a average life or not the life that they envision to have, right? And you have to understand that if anywhere in your mind it is tolerable for you to live like, this average life or not achieving things that you want to achieve out of your life, then you will not be successful, right? You have to understand that. You have to be at a point. You have to get yourself to the point where the current way of how you're living, not achieving your goals, not having the things you want out of life, you have to be at a point where that is totally unacceptable, because only then will the sheer necessity be so high that you have no other way than to succeed, right? And at that point, that is really when you start to make waves. That's the moment where you start to flip things around. That's the moment where you start to change things. And you have to understand that any type of risk to help you get there, to help you get that success, is worth it. So whether it takes you 1 year, whether it takes 2 years, 5 years, whatever it is, any type of risk is worth it, because you will be able to live the life that you want for the rest of your life, right? So some people, they think that once you get to a certain point in your life, then the fear just magically goes away, right? That is just not true at all. No matter what point you are in life, no matter what level you are, so to speak, there always comes fear, because with every type of level that you are, so to speak, it brings new challenges, and challenges bring fear, right? And we can look at a laundry list, a huge laundry list of people that have become successful in life and that we all admire, right? And I think a very good example of this is with the story of Elon Musk and Tesla and SpaceX, right? His two big companies. So back in 2008, Elon Musk almost went pretty much bankrupt with Tesla and SpaceX. In fact, Tesla almost went bankrupt 2 days before Christmas that year. So in his own words, Elon Musk gave the likelihood of success for his companies like less than 10%. And at that point, he had like $180 million to invest in the business. And he had to make a choice: either invest in one and let the other one die, or invest in both and both could die, right? Pretty hard choice to make. But what he did was still invest in both, despite having massive fear, despite there being a chance for it not to work, right? What if he did it and it wouldn't work, right? But for him, his sheer willingness to succeed, or rather his sheer willingness to do whatever it takes in light of succeeding, was so high that he didn't have time for fear. And fast forward, his bet paid off, his move paid off, right? Tesla, at the time of recording this video, is now valued at over $62 billion, right? SpaceX is valued at over $33 billion. Now, The moral of the story isn't to say that you should go bankrupt or almost bankrupt, but the point to make here, the point that I'm trying to hammer home here, is that you need to have a high amount of willingness. You need to be able to look at yourself and ask yourself, like, what am I willing to tolerate? What am I willing to suffer through? What am I willing to go through to make this thing a absolute success? Because that is the thing that's going to make the difference right here, right? And this is why you can't play the what if game. This is why you need to stop playing these what if games. You have to stop being a loser. You have to stop being the type of person that looks at other people and watch them succeed and think to yourself like, oh, why can, or think to yourself like, oh, they can succeed and I can't, and come up with all sorts of different excuses, right? Successful people understand that everything around them is created by people who are no more special than they themselves are. That is what makes them successful. And you need to understand this too for yourself if you want to be successful as well. And the other thing is that you have to understand that if you are afraid of making or sending an email or putting yourself out there on social media, or trying to ask someone out, or trying to engage with a client, or making an investment of 2, 3, 5, 10,000 or more into your own business, you are betting chips, you are betting pennies to get the life that you want and can live for the rest of your life, right? And the other point that I want to make about this is that you need to understand that time is passing you by, whether you make a move or not. Your time in this world is finite. Now, I'm not saying you should have a morbid outlook on life with everything that you do, but what you need to understand here is that as time passes, with each passing second, your time gets less, right? At some point, you will die. And what you need to understand here is that with each passing second that time gets less for you, your time becomes infinitely more valuable. At the same token, the price of fear becomes infinitely higher as well. And what it means is that you cannot pay your life forward with fear. The cost is too high. And that is what you need to understand here. Because if you keep doing that, at the end of your life, you will play the ultimate what if game. And that is when you are going to ask yourself, like, what if I did the things that I could have done but didn't do? How different could my life have been, right? And the sad thing about that is that you will never get an answer, because by that point, it is already too late. Your time is right here, right now. You don't have time for fear.